This floor is pretty similar to the last one, except the tiles are black. This one, I quite like it. It's not super clean though. Some drippings here, so I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Floored with Kai. So, some funny things going on. In the comments on my last video, Kuro and the gang decided to come in and start trolling me about my opening. So, this is the first video they posted.
This bright circular ball on top of the ceiling. I give it a 9 out of 10. This bright circular. This toilet paper looks a bit muddy. Thickness quite average. One ply. The cherry flavor. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. This is my nice Elon. So this little helmet is pretty clean, good diameter, and also encourages the users to keep calm. 7 out of 10. I guess it's pretty rare. Nice shape, circular. I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
So yeah, that's it's all about that. If you want to have a laugh, just go to the comments and check it out. Kuro and Cisco are really a riot. Okay, on to more serious business. As you all know, the merge happened. So hooray for Ethereum and the crypto ecosystem. I think this is great. Now, a few things to keep in mind is that the merge doesn't actually necessarily reduce your gas prices or make the system more efficient. The main advantage of this specific update is that Ethereum is moving from the consensus mechanism of proof of work to the consensus mechanism of proof of stake. I have to realize that in terms of transactions per second, TPS, if you're talking about that, it's not just affected by the consensus mechanism, but there's other limits imposed in terms of network congestion, for instance, is a really big one, and also the computational power required to not just perform proof of work consensus, but also the computational power required to validate blocks and transactions. So what's going on here is that in terms of the environmental impact of Ethereum, that's kind of where the biggest improvement that we're going to see is happening. And what this basically means is that people can't really come in and FUD Ethereum anymore for having a detrimental impact on the environment. And for me, I think that's great because a lot of people, obviously everyone, cares about the environment a lot. And not having people coming in and saying that we're destroying the environment for using Ethereum is extremely bullish in my opinion, and it's just one less thing for the detractors of crypto and DeFi in general. One less thing for them to complain and fight about. So a little bit more about the merge and basically the new proof of stake consensus is it's basically got these things called epochs, and they're split up into 32 slots, as you can see here, and each slot can contain a block, but not every block or not every slot contains a block. In this case they do, so all these are green, but you can see cases where sometimes a slot might not contain a block, and that's okay. It just gets skipped over and you'll see a red block, a red kind of square here, and that's basically because the validator that's supposed to propose that block is not online at the time and didn't respond for within a certain period of time, and that's kind of how they handle the potential issue of a validator not being around when they've been selected. Now, there's 400,000 active validators. Interestingly enough, in order for the next phase of Ethereum, which is sharding. Now, sharding is where you're going to see that big increase in transactions per second throughput. That requires around 250,000 validators to be active. We've already reached over 400,000. So, in terms of the network, it is actually primed for the next upgrade. However, I'm not entirely sure when that will be happening. And this is another Explorer that you can look into for looking at some of these metrics, such as the amount of validators, etc. Now, in terms of monetary wise, if you want to run a validator, currently showing on stakingrewards.com, the APY is 4.5%, which is not huge. It was bigger at the time. I remember it was about 10-11% a few weeks ago. So as more people got on and started staking, there's less of the pie to go around, and it's at 4.5%, which for this market I think is very respectable, which is totally fine. Okay, now if you want to find out more, Cigar has a great thread on this and goes into detail and gives you some websites that are handy to look at regarding the merge. Now, speaking of Cigar, the Azuki dev, I want to talk about Azuki. Now, if you were on Twitter a couple of days ago, from when this came out, you would have seen just all of these celebrities on your timeline. Jay Chow, The Rock, and it's actually, I can't find them at the moment because they seem to have changed back. But basically, the entire Azuki community was LARPing as different celebrities and claiming that they bought Azuki, which I thought was quite funny. Now, this all started with the Zagabond tweeted this on the 17th. Community strongest I've ever seen, not gonna lie. And it kind of took off from there. But actually, it in reality started way before that. So people were asking, why is Azuki suddenly gaining a lot of popularity? Why did the floor price go up from like 6 or 8 ETH to 10 over 10 ETH? And a big part of that reason is this post right here. So this guy, Last Night ETH, he swept over 100 Azukis. This was about a month ago. And then he revealed that he was this guy, Adrian Cheng. Now, Adrian Cheng is this popular founder slash celebrity in Hong Kong, and he owns this K11, which is a really big shopping mall in Hong Kong, and it's also a sort of a got an artsy vibe to it, like an art gallery. And basically, this mall, yeah, it's quite a popular mall in Hong Kong. And not only that, he's also a director for a $3 billion real estate company, from what I know. So basically, this started happening about a month ago. And so this guy's like super bullish on Azuki, and over time, word is getting out about all this real estate investor being bullish on Azuki, and then it started pumping. Zaga posted this on the 17th, and then people started LARPing as celebrities. And I think my theory is that it was bullish because of this, and then people saw that it was gaining momentum, and then the community kind of hopped on and started doing all the engagement farming to give it that extra push and see the floor price go up even higher. So that's my theory on all that. regarding Azuki, and yeah, I just wanted to cover. That's today's kind of like what was really huge on Twitter kind of thing. So another thing I wanted to cover is last time we talked about free to own NFTs. So there's another trend that's been gaining popularity, and that is storytelling NFTs. And this has actually been popular for a while, but I don't know why. All of a sudden, crypto Twitter decided to make it a thing on Twitter. So basically, you can see a bunch of posts by different influencers talking about this concept of storytelling. And this originally started, a while back. NFTs such as Goblin Town back in May, they had storytelling elements to them. Now, what is storytelling and what is a storytelling NFT? Basically, if you don't remember, when Goblin Town started off, they had these these spaces, and they would actually go on and they would they would put on these goblin voices and act in character and do certain things that kind of provide entertainment value to the audience. Wag Die, We're All Gonna Die did a similar thing. They actually hired a female voice actress to go on their Twitter space and provide entertainment value. Now, that alone, like forming that narrative alone, is not enough, in my opinion, to qualify as a storytelling NFT. You also need to have the NFT in the participate in the storytelling itself. So basically, in Goblin Town, they had these eggs, I believe, and then over time, the eggs kind of got revealed and they kind of evolved and such. We're All Gonna Die had the thing where if you listed your NFT under a certain amount, it got burnt or something. And they're still doing things like this where you can the community can choose to be like on a certain side of a big war. This is also kind of a hallmark. The font. This is really popular back when Wagdai first came out. Now the question is, why are people talking about it now? And in my opinion, it has to do with Renga. So Renga, I checked the floor price somewhat recently. It was around two, I believe. It's gone down to one, but there's still a very decent floor price for this market. And Renga is another example of a storytelling NFT. Their NFTs, they have different multiple collections, and they kind of change over time depending on different things that can happen. And so they qualify as a storytelling NFT. Another one that could count as a storytelling NFT is Gangster All Stars. So Gangster All Stars, their reveal process is it has like different phases to it, as you can see here. The seal will be broken 2 weeks today, revealing the next part of the story. So you kind of start with a box, and then there's like another chapter. Your NFT becomes a sword, and then there's like a sword and a note. So you can kind of see how the NFT kind of interacts with the story in a sense. And on top of that, their actual characters, they have a lot of lore and a lot of story behind them. Another NFT that falls under the storytelling, a fairly new one, is Crudeborn. Actually, not that new, July. Okay. But I think they're still they're still pretty heavy on the marketing at the moment. Let's see where they've been posting a lot every day, insane amounts. But yeah, these guys are basically another storytelling NFT, and if you go through their account, you can see they're retweeting a lot of bullish news about storytelling NFTs. That's a really easy way to spot a storytelling NFT is when they retweet bullish sentiment about storytelling NFTs. Yeah. So that's my coverage on storytelling NFTs. So today we talked about the merge, Azuki, storytelling NFTs. Finally, I'm going to cover the contract or solidity fail of the day, which I like to talk about at the end. This is pretty crazy. This team basically used arrays for the allow list. So basically, there's different ways to do your whitelist method. And actually, if you go to my Twitter, I'll put a link in the description. I've got a thread on my preferred method for whitelist, and that hasn't changed since I think I put that thread out in April or May. So basically, ECDSA signature recovery is pretty much the best method in my opinion at the moment. These guys did so originally mapping, that's kind of like the OG method. Then people brought in Merkle roots, then ECDSA. Arrays is never really a thing. I don't even know. I didn't even realized that was a thing. So these guys, I don't know who this is, wigme.io, but basically, instead of having a map or a actual or a signature check or whatever, they just have a really long array, and then for every address, they just loop over and then check it, which is an insane way to do this. It's so inefficient. These guys don't realize that every operation costs gas. So, rather than costing, regular 100K gas, this ended up costing them 5 million, which is just completely unusable. It's not even like, oh, that mint was expensive. It's basically unusable. It's like it's going to cost you a couple of ETH to mint, which of gas, not just the actual mint price, but a couple of ETH of gas. We're talking like Yuga Labs land sale level of gas usage, just basically without the gas war, just during quiet times. So yeah, don't do this. If you want to implement a contract with whitelist, go read my thread. It's in the description. And that's all for today.